Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are our inalienable, God-given rights. What we mean by that is that all Americans are supposed to be afforded those rights, but the current politics of America have led us down a very misguided path where not all of us are afforded all three of these inalienable rights. What I mean to say is that there are many issues here in America that need to be dealt with differently, or rather, that some issues aren't being dealt with properly, but that we need to have a different look on them, or that we need to continue on with them. One of the policies that we need to continue on with is the policy of healthcare reform. We need to continue with the policies that Barack Obama has set forth and even expand upon these policies. What I intend to do is give government a larger role in healthcare than it already has, being that we would actually implement a public option. The public option was the beating heart of the healthcare reform, and without it, healthcare reform is less meaningful than it should be. With the public option that I want to instate, we will be able to drive down costs for healthcare for more Americans and drive it down even further for Americans who are being benefited already. And then furthermore, when we're looking towards other issues, we need to look also at how to save us money, because that's the issue with healthcare. Who's going to save money and how much money are they going to save? And one thing that everyone talks about is how we're going to raise taxes in order to fund this public healthcare system. But the thing about tax increase is you have to look at it in a sense of, well, balance. When you have the cost of healthcare over here to the left, and those costs are rising and accelerating faster and faster every day, you see that you're going to be spending more money on healthcare. But on the other side, once reform is passed, you'll see that your taxes may increase, but your overall cost of healthcare will go down, because whatever costs you pay in taxes will not equal the cost that you're going to pay when you actually have to go to the doctor's office. And the reason why taxes have been so high has been because of loose regulations on businesses who are allowed to take our money and essentially go and gamble with it. I intend to close those loopholes and make it to where businesses can't get too big to fail, because we shouldn't have any businesses that are too big to fail, because once they're too big to fail, then they're too big to sustain, and we must get rid of them, because if they're too big to fail, then they influence every bit of our lives. They become the big brother. The government loses its power, and we're under the power of that company, and we need to make sure that problems like the AIG bailout never ever happen again. Now, another issue that's probably on a lot of Americans' minds is the issues that are facing our military. Problems with North Korea and Iran, and then furthermore with non-proliferation and disarmament. What we need to do is we need to send a clear message to North Korea and Iran using diplomacy first and foremost. Because we don't want to send our American troops, your sons, your daughters, your husbands, your wives, your brothers, your sisters to war to die. For what cause? Because we don't agree, because we're not seeing the money that we want to see, we're going to send our young men and women to die. I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that through peaceful, diplomatic reasons, we can resolve our conflicts with North Korea and Iran. And if we can't, then we'll take the next option. And one thing that we need to make sure of is that these countries do not get nuclear weapons. Proliferation is a problem in our current world, and we need to make sure that no more countries gain access to nuclear weapons, especially unstable ones like North Korea and Iran, and we'll do whatever it takes to make sure that doesn't happen. And then back on the domestic front, we're going to raise the minimum wage, we're going to legalize marijuana. I'm not going to decriminalize it, as many would like to argue. I have a comprehensive plan for the legalization and taxation of marijuana that would avoid the problems that many are thinking may arise with the legalization of marijuana. We're going to get rid of the abstinence program completely. We're going to place bans on assault weapons like the AK-47, because those aren't practical weapons, because no hunter is going to go out and sit in his deer blind and shoot down a deer with his Kalashnikov. It's just not going to happen. They have no practical purpose, and all they do is add to crime and the effectiveness of crime. And then for the last thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that those who have gone down and chosen a life of crime, that what they do is, well, not looked down so bad upon. That we're not just punishing, but we're rehabilitating. I'm going after the life, the liberty, and the pursuit of happiness of all Americans, and I'm trying to give it back to y'all.